Ma'am, ready to go, ma'am.
A very good evening to one and all present here. Never stop learning because life never stops teaching. With this quote, in this pleasant evening, Engineers Crew welcome you all for the webinar on Oduvadu Uriyel by Mr. Harikishan, Verizon Data Services, Chennai. Engineers Crew is a mass of enthusiastic engineers who aspire to motivate and upskill life-minded engineers to discover and world the world of science. The scientific journey commenced in 2019. Throughout this, they have conducted various workshops on topics such as PCB designing and fabrication, IoT, product development, robotics, aero modeling, app development, and cloud computing. And the other fields are industrial automation, prototype development, project internships, and many more internships have been conducted. Engineers Crew is a proud recipient of Chief Minister's Award for e-governance. And today, the webinar is on Oduvadu Uriyel by Mr. Harikishan. Mr. Harikishan, being a graduate of Savita Engineering College, kickstarted his career in IBM through campus interview as fresher, where he was into quality assurance team. He has learned a lot of management skill in project management and certified for both ISO 9000 and 27000. He has been with IBM for more than 3 years and he has got many awards to name a few like Dexter Award, Service Excellence Award, Predictive Business Insight Awards. After being with IBM, he switched over to Microland, where he worked for 2 years. From quality assurance, he moved into project management and he was also the Agile project delivery coach. At present, he is working as release train engineer in Verizon, which is the leading telecommunication network in US. Here, he manages the end-to-end software delivery for the projects, which involves numerous technology and teams. He's in more than 5 years in IT industry. We are very happy to have you, Mr. Harikishan. I request you to take over the session.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. Thank you for the warm welcome. So, hi everyone. I hope everyone safe. First of all, let me start out with the session. Happy Independence Day to everyone. So, we all have a very good year upcoming. So, let's start with the session. Let me walk you through the agenda, like what we have for this session. So, let me give you like a quick overview on like what we are about to. I'm about to deliver for you. So, can we next slide, please? Yeah. So first one, on the agenda perspective, so why learning? So we are going to discuss about why we are doing any learning perspective. And when we learn something, actually we might be able to know like how long it actually takes to deliver or learn some new skill or a new topic altogether. So that's the next agenda what we have in the bucket. And the third one would be like simple 4 steps for any skill acquisition. And the fourth step would be the marginal improvement. And this one would be the Q&A. So I will quickly, let me speed up the session possibly. I'll try to cover as quickly as possible later on. Let's have a quick round of Q&A so that will be more interactive session. That's how I prefer. So let me move on to the topic. So why learning? So why learning in the perspective of, next slide, please. Yeah, while learning in the perspective. So when we learn something, for example, let me go to your childhood or my childhood that matters. So all of us by now, most of the 20 kids generation, this generation, so obviously most of us would have gone through learning about to drive a cycle. Motorcycle, I would say 70-30, so many would still, even my friends to that matter, still doesn't know how to drive a bike or something. So cycle, obviously, many of us would have gone through, at least the 90% or 98% of the students altogether would have know like how to drive a cycle. So from that perspective, let me collect my instance or my memory like on learning. This is also learning. This is also skill altogether. So that's why I'm giving a layman example over here. I'll start with this set of example. Then I'll go into the next group of examples, what I have in. So while learning cycling, I would say like that was my during my third standard or third grade of class. I started, and during all these things, I had gone through a lot of injuries or something. நிறைய சில்லறை வாங்கியிருக்கேன், நிறைய பண்ணியிருக்கேன், நிறைய சேட்டைகள் பண்ணியிருக்கோம். But altogether, we would have gone through within a 2 month span of time. Would have gone through that experience of getting into the learning of cycle, how to do a cycling. So this is the basic example, and here I would say like let me categorize this into 4 different topics on learning itself. So in learning, I would say like first would be like a data, second would be like information, third would be like knowledge, and fourth would be like wisdom. Okay, so first data. Data is something like I would say like I'm trying to learn cycling. That would be the data. Next would be the information. Like I am trying to do a cycle in certain set of cycles. Like I would say like during my time, I would say like hey, Fully's was a brand or something. India Cycles was a brand. So I'm going to learn a cycling through this set of cycles would be the information category. Third would be the knowledge, how I'm going to drive this cycle or how I'm going to learn this perspective. That would be the knowledge perspective. That's how important it is. Like how I'm going to learn or practice in cycling. So initially when I started off, there were these
Hello, am I audible, ma'am? Can you hear me now?
Yes, audible. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. 1 second, just give me a minute.
Harikishan, unmute.
one second, sir. One second. Yeah. So during cycling perspective, I'll learn with that. Let me ask you one simple question, like when most of you guys are engineering graduates, right? So when you start your career with engineering right after your 12th grade or something, so did you ever imagine like why am I learning engineering, or what made you to took engineering? For example, I would say simply form these buckets. Like engineering is also one kind of a skill or learning. First would be the data. Like I'm being choosing engineering is the data, and next would be the information. Like I'm being choosing the engineering certain institution. That would be the information. Like I could say like I did my engineering in Savita, so I would say like I did my B in EC in Savita. So that is an information. Knowledge, like how I did my engineering, like with all the 8 semesters, with all the subjects, with all the labs, with all the projects, with all the exams, internals, everything, every little story to that matters. So it all gives you the experience, or it all gives you the knowledge on how you did your engineering, how you gone through everything. I would say like there are a lot of positives as well as there are being here and there negative, like pressure handling things around engineering is the most difficult thing to go through compared to arts or something. So this all this perspective, it comes under knowledge. I would say like why I did my engineering, or why you did your engineering. That's what comes the wisdom. So why I did my engineering. It's based engineering is based on my choice. I would say there was no intervention from my parents or my relatives or my friends or something. I took engineering only because of me. So that's how I've selected engineering. So this is how I've been like. I know basically why I did my engineering, because right in my younger days I was more interested in like fixing around things or tape recorder during those days. Now we guys have iPods or iPads or something. But during my childhood days, 90s kids basically. So during my childhood days, there are more tape recorder perspectives. So I've been used to fond of tape recorders actually. Still I am. So I used to carry a lot. So I used to do a lot of debugging around it. So during that day itself, I've been inspired to do an engineering. So that's how I've been brought into. So that's why I know why took my engineering altogether. And basically, I'm good at maths as well. So which made me more easier for choosing engineering. So that's how I've been brought into learning. So why am I saying all this story is when you started to learn something, or when let it be of engineering, or let it be of your hobby. For example, when you started to try drawing or pencil sketching to that matter, or started to play starting to learn guitar or keyboard, or starting to play chess to that matter, or starting any new sport or something. Whenever you choose any sport to that matter, or any hobby, or any learning, or any skill to that matters, always bucketize in this 4 buckets. So it's be like basically data, information, knowledge, and wisdom. Data is about what you're choosing. Information is what about when and where you're going to choosing, and knowledge is all about how you're going to do it to achieve or overcome it, and wisdom is all about why you're choosing that particular skill to that matters. So let me move on to the next slide on the topics. Okay, during all this perspective, I would say like okay, now we are going to talking about like attaining or acquiring any skill to that matter. Let it be of sports, let it be of music, band, or let it be of anything to that matter, or any hobbies like each every individual have. So how long do you guys have any suggestions, or do you guys have any idea about like how long actually it required to have a successful skill, or to have attain a certain position in that particular skill set? Do you have any idea like how long it actually takes? It's next tab please. So it's actually takes 10,000 hours to get or acquire a skill, any new skill to that matter. 10,000 hours, which means that if at all, if I am being supposed I need to participate in a car racing. Okay, I still know to drive a car, but even though if I still want to become a top or a good car racer to that matter, I need to spend 10,000 hours to that matter. It's a proven science. I'm not talking about random numbers here. It's a proven science and it's proven math as well. So 10,000 hours, it's actually take any skill to that matter to achieve or to get into the position or get into the expertise of that skill. So 10,000 hours, which is nothing but 5 years altogether, comparing 24 hours if you put in, it comes into 5 years of consideration. So here I have a chart like how good you are in a skill. That's I've taken in a y-axis, and practice time that I've taken in the x-axis actually. So if you see, this is a normal curve to that matter. So when you start off, you have very little amount of practice time which means put in. So you are good. Your expertise also been measured over there. So at least to get into the peak of the level. So when you spend like 10,000 hours to put in for any skill to that matter, you'd be like in your peak of your career or peak of that particular skill to that matters. So that's how. So how do you think, like you guys are doing engineering itself, it's been 4 years. Okay, so how do you think that whether it would be possible to acquire any new skill to that matter? So if at all, if you look into the market, the amount of engineers we have been brought in or amount of engineers we've been successfully or being in a high position to that matter, this is how the math get diluted here. So I'll go to the next step, like how it's been. Okay, so here to acquire or to get into expertise of the skill set, I said that it's been like 10,000 hours. So what do you think, like how long it requires to learn any skill to that matter, like 0 to learning curve? How long you think that it will be actually, we have that? It is also a proven science that actually takes 20 hours of time. If at all, if you put in like 20 hours, which is the 45 minutes a day for a month or so, obviously in that particular skill set, you would have an enough idea about like what is the skill set are all about, like how you can learn things around, like okay, I know from 0 to learning curve, I mean if you put in like enough of your time, like 20 hours, you would obviously know like what is this skill set is all about. See here how long the peak on the learning curve, I would say like 20 hours of time. That is how it's been, like how long curve means. And from there you practice, and you practice over and over again, you'll reach into the peak. For example, I can say like let me take an example of being a cricketer to that matter. Okay, so being all the professional cricketer to that, be it of Sachin during my days or being it of Virat Kohli to your days, whomever it matters. It doesn't mean that within a year or within 6 months they'll learn cricket and then being brought back into the international standard. Is it the case? No. The earlier days they would have probably started in the 7 or 8 age. By then they would have gone into the learning curve and they would have probably played their under 10, under 11, under 12, under 13 or under 15, and then they would have probably get into the international standard. To that matters, if you see into this, all these things, this 5 years, they would have gone into the expertise level by putting into that 10,000 hours altogether. But initially, when you start off training or start off your training of cricket, you means like it's always required like a month or so. If you've been like you obviously know what is cricket, what is the rules around it, and how to do a batting. You are a right-hander. You would have discussed. You are a right-hander. You are a fast bowler. You are a wicket keeper. What skill set do you have? By then you yourself will have a fair enough idea within that 20 hours span of time. So that's how the learning is actually split around. So that's how it's been like if you spend like 20 hours enough of your time for any skill set to learn that particular thing, you have enough fair enough idea about what the skill set is all about. And next, the expertise level, it's based on your will. So if you think like if you're thinking like, okay, I choose this is my career path, I choose this is my path, I need to proceed further, then you need to have a patience, you need to have reliable, you need to stick on to your decisions, and you need to come up with a lot of negativity around it, and you need to be ready to face the challenges and everything. So the rest of the part, it's all about based on your mindset and your willpower altogether. So that's all about like the duration perspective on any skill set to learn around. Next would be the rapid skill acquisition. 4 simple steps, as I told you. One is construct the skill. Deconstruct the skills in the tense. I will give you an example on my own experience. Okay, I'm being one of the laziest example, I would say, in my entire college days. I've been one of the laziest example. Why? Because during the entire semester, okay, I would study in last 2 days of the examination. Last 2 days I have no, because I have my hobbies or my college days. It's been a different scenario altogether. Let me not get into the fun part actually, but during this part, on examination preparation part, I've been the laziest example. Why am I saying is, uh, for example, I could say like, let's consider that day before my exam, sorry, day before tomorrow, sorry, day after tomorrow is my exam. For instance, I would say like today only I'll be opening my book, and during my time, what I would do is, from others different is, I will go by a different procedure altogether. What I will do is I will deconstruct. Okay, I'm not sure how the marking pattern differs here, but during my time it will be like 10 2 marks and 16 marks. That's how it's been like. So I used to pattern. I used to deconstruct it. Okay, this first topic or first chapter has been like most simplest chapter. It tells about what this subject is all about. The next chapter is also more reliable. It's okay, it's end of chapter. So it's been like, okay, I can plan certain things around it. Like I can expect certain amount of questions over here. And the church chapter, it's been like actual chapter begins, actual topic or actual subject begins by then. That's how I used to deconstruct. Okay, this part of position I need to learn this much, and this part of the portion I need to learn this much. So I used to plan it. I used to plan the deconstruction perspective. I used to break it into smaller chunks. Then I used to go with like, first day I read it for the first time. You guys know, like when you read something for the first time, you know it will be like a Greek and Latin to that matter. So that's how I've been like. And the second day I used to go with a revision. That's it, blank. The next day when it happens to the examination perspective, I only remind for that particular chapter. I may not remember the previous chapter to that matter. I may not remember the next chapter what is going to happen. I don't trust on that. For that moment I rely on that particular day. So it's more like a deconstruction skill. So when you plan something, or when you have, for example, I could say like when you start a venture, or when you start if you want to be an entrepreneur, or if you want to be in a corporate world, first you set a goal, and you need to have that. To attain that goal, you need to have a skill. Okay, that obviously there are a lot of people to here to give you guidance or something like that. This many skills you need to require, but you need to plan it, or you need to deconstruct, like, okay, first at what I need to try, second what I need to try, third what I need to plan. Because I would say like none other than you who know better than yourself. So it's be like, based on that, you need to deconstruct your skill set or what you need to acquire. So next would be, the next simple step would be like, learn enough to self-correct. Okay, learn enough in the sense, as I told you earlier, you know yourself, right? So you know your strength and you know your uh, minus. I mean your negative part. So if you know that, you obviously know like how you can self-correct yourself. Again, I could give you an example. For instance, if at all, if you want to take it a subject, I'll say like one of the most remember subject I would remember would be like digital signal processing, DSP, or a degree stopping paper, whatever it is of. So if at all, if you take that particular subject, for instance, like take an example, like I'm reading the subject, or I'm reading the foreign author book for that matters from end to end. Okay, without a single line, I'm missing single line, I'm finishing it up. Do you think that I would be an expertise to be in program into a digital signal processing? Do you think that is how it's been? No, that will not work. For example, you can take any programming language, Java, React, AngularJS, whatever it is of, or whatever it is of, right? If at all, if you are bring, or if at all, if you think that, okay, I can read certain things or things, and I would be the expert. No, you got to need to plan it, and you got to need to learn it slowly, and you need to self-edit yourself. Okay, that's how you get growth. You need to practice. You need to think, like you need to think from out of the box. Okay, for this programming language, why don't I try this, or why don't I put a different syntax? Based on those kind of self-correction, you will get into the, or you will get into the expertise of that particular language. Or if you'll think from a third eye perspective, like, okay, why don't I try this, or why don't I try those? So those kind of self correction, let it be of management skills, or let it be of like your interpersonal skills, whatever it is of, you got to learn yourself to self correct. For that, you got to know, you got to learn yourself, like what is your pros and what is your cons. That's how you need to plan it across. I would say, like, next, remove practice barriers. Remove practice barriers. This kind of generation kids, we have lots and lots of diversions. We have internet, we have Instagram, we have televisions, we have web series, we have Netflix, whatever it is. We have lots of distractions. So I wouldn't say like no. I wouldn't say like be a bookworm or be into your space, or don't look for anything. No, I won't say like, plan something. You have certain time of, plan some time for that, and plan some time for yourself. So if you plan yourself, and if you remove, or if you stick on to your timetable, or if you stick on to your time space, then obviously you'd be more clear on your vision, like how to march towards your goal. So avoid the negativity perspective, or avoid the what I will say, more into social medias, or more into video games, or more into PUBGs, or more into PlayStations, whatever it is. So remove as much as possible the practice barriers. Then you would be possibly have enough time to spend for your skill sets. Mm, yeah, as I told you earlier, once you have the practice barriers removed, or if you have enough time to spend for your skill set, at least practice at least for any particular skill set for 20 hours. That will give you a fair enough idea about altogether on that particular skill set, or that particular learning experience. It will obviously teach you to attain over there. So that is how the all these four rapid skills for acquisition you need it. So yeah, next, marginal improvement. Once, okay, as I told you to the earlier graph, like when you spend 20 hours of your initial time, you would get into the learning curve, or you know like what particular skills is all about, or what is this is all about. But from there to that expertise level, it's a huge stuff. As I told, it's proven science. It will take you nearly for 10,000 hours to get into the expertise of any skill set to that matter. So this is one classic example. How many of you know this guy? He's a tennis player. So I'm not sure how many of you know him. So he initially started off his career in 2004 or 5, when he was around like 650th rank or something. He was earning around like $0.3 million for altogether. So he was into his initial stage of his career. So you know, like how much do you expect like how much percentage of matches you would have won? Can click? Can you someone give a click on the presentation? Give a tap on the presentation. Rahul, ma'am. Yeah. So he was initial phase of his career. He won around 49% of matches. For that, he earned around zero point 0.3 billion. Okay, but that's not the actual perspective or numbers you need to look around. Look around the points is percentage he won. Nearly 49% of points he won or during his initial phase. Now look into the second picture. Now after that, like by the 2010s, he been like one of the top three after Roger Federer, Rafael Nadal. So he's been the third one. By that time, he was earning around 5 million, just like a 5 year span of time. But if you look into this, the win percentage would be like 79% you would have won. That's how it's been like the growth from 49. What he have actually done. If you look at the last point, the points 1% would have gone by only 3%. he would have moved into 52% of points. He would have won by scoring. If at all, if anyone knows about tennis, they would have gone. Like he won like 52% of points he have won. For that, he moved into the 79% of matches he won. For the final picture, by 2016, he been like the number one tennis player. He won like 90% of matches. For that, he just again moved by 3 numbers in the percentage of points he won. He been moved into from 52 to 55, for which which means it brought into 90% of matches he won. Why am I saying all these numbers? Is if you look into the last line of all the three comparison, it would have been the difference would have been very minimal number variance. So I would say, like in your career also, once you started to learn, once you attain certain knowledge or certain level of expertise, level of learning in any skill to that matter, from that, if you think like you want to attain, or if you want to take that as your career path, you need to be practicing, keep practicing, and you need to go through all the hurdles to that matter. Don't skip anything. Be disciplined as possible to yourself. And there was a famous quote by MS Dhoni as well during one of his interview, which I've been inspired. He always used to say this one particular, which is my favorite line as well. He always used to say, like, be honest to yourself. Just be honest to yourself, because you be your evaluator. Don't worry about marks, or don't worry about what is the others that person gonna think around you, or worry about your environment or surrounding to that matter. Just think about you. Live for that moment. Just think on yourself, like how yourself evaluate yourself, like where am I being last year, where am I being this year, what am I learning all this time, how am I spending my time, what is my career path. So if you have any career path, think around that, talk to the expertise, get enough ideas around it, and get into the motivation, or spend as much enough time as possible for yourself. No worries about, don't get distracted with, mainly I would say, like there are, as I told, this generation kids have n number of distraction. They would they have very minimal level of time for them to concentrate on anything. So have, please do concentrate on your stuff, and think on this level of marginal improvement on your own perspective. Be it of your character to that matter. Like last year I would have been a different person. This year I would have been a different person. How am I learning? How am I getting mature? All to that matters. So this is also still a learning. This is also learning, trying to learn about yourself. So all this matters actually. So with this, I have keep a pause. So let's move on to Q&A. So possibly we can take it to the level of more into interacting sessions.
Thank you, Mr. Harikishan, for sharing your wonderful knowledge with us. It was really an interactive session too about learning and the practice time. Let us wait for the participants to post their question.
Yeah.
So we have got the first question. One of our participants has asked, what is the learning time we need to allocate per day?
As I told you earlier, the overall learning perspective for any skill to that matter would be like 20 hours. So if you can plan it for 45 minutes a day, which comes around a month or less than a month to that matter. So that would be more than enough if you are planning to learn any skill in a particular month. So that should be more than enough.
So the reply for him is 45 minutes per day, right?
Yeah, 45 minutes per day for a month.
Okay, fine. So the next question from another participant is, he is aspiring to go to abroad for his higher studies.
Okay.
So what would you suggest? Should I do the same course, whatever I did in UG, like continuation of my engineering, or can I choose any other course in my MS?
Yeah. Okay. For this answer is very simple. What you wish. it's not about like the scope or something. For instance, I would have seen many people on my surrounding itself did their higher studies in different environment or different stream of education. So I would say, like, I will call it as an example. One of my friend, he did his engineering and he went into abroad and he was learning like graphic designing and animation perspective. So that is a different, and this is a different. So it's all depends on like what you wish. If you wish to do your engineering, if you wish to have a vision on it, please to take it up. Or if you have any other topic, or if you have any other stream of interest, do get into the knowledge about what this stream is all about, and then particularly then you can take it up on that particular stream.
Thank you for the wonderful answer. The next question from another participant is how to adapt if his field of interest is different from the job where he got placed. The field of interest is different and the job where he's working is different.
Okay. uh, Welcome to life, I would say. See, that's what the reality would be different from the dream, right? So I would say, like, if you have certain set of interest and you got into place into a different stream, or you have that particular moment you need to take that particular job. So that is how the life would be on the reality perspective. I would say, like, do your job or do continue work on that particular stream. Okay. At the same time, have some time for yourself or for your dream. Do practice for that. Get into the enough knowledge, and you obviously get into the confidence level. Like, okay, this is my dream. I have like the confidence, like how to take it up further, so I can confidently take that particular risk on life, like from jumping here to there. I have that risk, but I have a confidence on myself to jump over there. Then possibly you can take it up from there.
The next question is how to avoid the distraction. As you told, this generation kids has many distraction. The participant is asking how to get avoided of those distractions, any ways or any methods to implement it.
Distraction is very simple to I would say, like, for instance, you plan yourself like, okay, for certain amount of time. Okay, the most of the distraction these days is happening based on the mobile phones, I would say. Most of the social media stuffs or most of the surfing stuffs or something, it's happened based on the mobile phone. I would say, like, plan a day, like, for yourself, like, okay, for this particular amount of time, I won't be using my mobile phone or something like that, unless and until it's something important or something emergency is happening. Apart from that, I won't be uh, taking it up. It's more like that kind of a self control, I would say. So if you're planning in that particular way, or if you're having a strict kind of vision, or a deconstructive material, that's what I said, deconstructive material, like this kind of skill set I need to cover it for this particular topics on this particular day. If you have that kind of a plan or that kind of a vision, obviously you would be get over it over a period of time. For example, I would say, like, let me tell you, during a usual day you would be using your mobile phone minimum of 5 years or something like that, I would say. Just compare yourself with your during your exam time. You would have it would have gone into like 2 hours or 1.5 hours or something like that on an average usage perspective. Why? Because on that particular day you want to get rid of that particular material to succeed in your exam. So that's how you need to have a self control on yourself.
So you'd like to conclude by we need a exact plan for our daily routine, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
we need
So
to
the
have a
next,
plan.
yeah, sure. The next question is the particular student is not interested in studying engineering, but interested in real time projects. What should I do?
uh, I would say, like, don't get into the perspective, or don't get into the negative mindset by now. I would say, like, still, I respect your decision, or respect, I can feel your mindset, because I have been seeing different people, or I've come through a lot around this particular stream. I would say, like, on that particular day, do your hard work uh, on getting the papers or getting the engineering stuff has been cleared. At the same time, spend more time for your projects, or spend more time on your uh, hobby or a dream what you have. that would succeed, because I would say like to attain something, need to have certain level of eligibility, right? So consider engineering that kind of eligibility to get into that kind of a dream you have. So you need to have the dream. It's not about the skill set. It's not about these things. You need to have a eligibility, right? So those consider engineering as that kind of eligibility. Possibly by then you have enough time for your projects, or you have enough time for your team, then you can take it up. So don't lose your hope. I would say like concentrate on both, but more on your dream.
We have the next question related to our present situation. The participant wants to know about your perception on whether the online education is effective than offline.
I would say it's still early days, because we have not gone into the level of online training what it's been. Because in other countries, I would say like basically call it as like US, and US and other foreign nations, online stream is already a different stream of education. It's been happening because we have been due into this. Because how they work is they used to do their classworks and everything in their home only, and they, when they come into class, they would obviously go into the actual practice of that particular subject. That's how they will be learning. But it's been like a different pandemic situation. It's been a different, and it's been like a different stream of education is happening altogether. I would say like still it's early days to call that perspective, but I prefer more of a practical training. That means like in-room training, actually, because the face-to-face conversation, when it's having, you have like you're under your high level contact, will give you the best level of knowledge transfer on my experience or my knowledge perspective. I would say like that.
We have few more questions, Harikishan.
No problem.
The question is there any scope in web development?
Obviously yes. Obviously yes. See, web development in the sense, I won't encourage the auto level tool of web development, like Bootstrap or something like that. I won't prefer that. If at all, if you are seriously taking it up of a web development or something like that, start from HTML, get into the most expertise level of JavaScript, because all the banking applications, all the insurance applications, all the medical applications are still working on JavaScript, vanilla JavaScript. So even though we have like a React Native or Angular, all the different applications we have as a new technologies, but unless and until these, I would say like I'm not sure whether this particular guy is Tamil or different state people. So in the மூணு ஜாம்பவாங்களுமே of the domains, இந்த மூணு ஜாம்பவங்கள் இருக்க வரையும் இந்த ஸ்கிரிப்ட் யூஸ் பண்றது JavaScript இது பண்ண முடியாது. So get as much as knowledge as JavaScript. Once you have that particular knowledge, obviously you can learn other foreign languages or other latest technologies with ease, I would say. This is more like learning about ABCD. Without ABCD, how can you frame your different words or something like that, get to the advanced level of speaking or communicating? So that's how.
The last question for today's session is about online platform. Could you please suggest any of the online platforms for the certification courses regarding Agile or ISO or any other required for engineering?
There are a lot of online platforms there, because
No, I think the participant is worried about which is the company expectation.
Okay. For agile, I would say like I would say to take it up agile or ISO in this level of experience on a student's perspective, I would still call it as no, because those kind of skill set, you need to have a minimal level of field experience to take that subject, because that's how you will be able to learn, or you will be able to understand what that particular subject delivers or something. So on that agile or ISO, I would say like no, don't take those kind of certification. But still, I can help you out. What are the institutions are providing this certification? But at this point in time, I would say like learn about ITIL. Information Technology Infrastructure Library. Learn about ITIL because ITIL gives you the fair enough idea about how the IT industry works or how the IT industry delivers. That is from the support end perspective. From the development perspective, if at all, if you're planning for IT industry, learn SDLC, that is Software Development Lifecycle. So for this kind of materials, you need not to do anything, or you need not to go back to any particular institution to get into the certification. You can still enroll into a YouTube channel. There are a lot of graphics or animations gives you or a fair enough idea about all these topics. Software Development Lifecycle gives you the fair enough end-to-end idea about like software development delivery altogether. So if at all, if you want to take a development as your perspective, then go for SDLC, or if at all, if you're planning for support, you go for ITIL, Infrastructure, Information Technology Infrastructure Library.
Thank you, Mr. Harikishan, for patiently answering the questions posted by our participants.
Thank you, ma'am. And thanks for the opportunity as well. So it's been great to interact with everyone. So thank you, everyone. Happy Independence Day. Again.
We thank all the participants for attending this webinar. Our next webinar is on PUBG after graduation by Mr. K. Nagadhiraj Reddy, Big Basket, Bangalore, on 22nd August. We would like to inform that we organize internships and workshops for both school and college level. We look forward to continue our journey with you. The feedback link will be posted in the comment box.